Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is 8:56 exactly. News and views right here on Salam Media. And after that very sad story of the Happiji family in Costa who have lost absolutely everything in a fire that razed their business, which has been in the family for generations, razed their business to the ground. We cross over now to Africa Muslim agencies and to Ashraf Gangraker. He is obviously a member, a hardworking member of Africa Muslims Agency. Assalamu alaikum to you, Ashraf. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, Julie, and to the listeners and those who are live streaming. It's a pleasure to be with you and thank you for the opportunity.
A big day, a big, I guess when we're talking to you, and we will be having more conversations going forward with other members of AMA regarding being in operation for 35 years. It's quite mind boggling, is it not? And you kind of wonder when and how did this organization start? How did the realization of such a need come about? Who were
Sure.
the starting members? And now the Chunara brothers are involved, as are you, who's very close to the Chunara brothers. Talk to us about that little history, and then we'll talk about the amazing event that's going to be happening in Cape Town.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity again. And I think, quite honestly, what you say is 100% correct because it's senseless. We stand here after 35 years without, paying recognition and acknowledging either things like founding fathers, supporters, donors, whatever the case may be. So it was in what, 1987, where the late Al Marhum Farid Chunara started out. And quite honestly, why did it start? Simply because the need existed. And I think that's a need that, probably is an ongoing thing. And we might be saying, well, have you made a difference? And of course it did. And so, quite honestly, Farid Chunara and others of his ilk, there was a very important Dr. Saeed from Kuwait, who was a mentor of Farid Chunara in very many ways and dear friend. They had traveled into parts of Africa and simply witnessed extreme poverty and persons who were living not just below the breadline, but incredibly way below, where they would go for days without eating, the need particularly for water, so that it's easier perhaps to go with sometimes without food, but to go without water would be a particular challenge. So that not only though is then the organization aimed at Africa and internationally, there was the similar need in our very own country, and let's be honest, that need still exists today. So upon the passing of Farid Chunara, as you say, the Chunara brothers, the CEO Imran Chunara, and his younger brothers, the twins Hafid Hassan and Hussein Chunara, they've taken the organization forward. However, it's a easy cliched saying, but in this case, ultra true. They have taken it forward because they stand on the shoulders of giants. And so people like their father and others of his ilk and people who supported their late dad, they are now able to move forward. So after 35 years, it's a particular honor and a thrill to be sharing with us and with viewers, listeners, and most particularly to anybody interested in humanitarian work, that after 35 years, by the grace of Allah and the support of people, the donors, and the exposure that the organization has achieved, we this year want to acknowledge. So it's not a sense of celebration. We're using words like commemoration, but crucially, to acknowledge contributions that people have made that allows Africa Muslims Agency now to operate in 14 countries all over the world.
I'm kind of wondering what uh, pops into your mind if anyone should ask you what is the biggest, and it's kind of an unfair question, what is the biggest achievement, or what do you believe made the greatest impact on the lives of people? Because even if you had just handed out a loaf of bread to one hungry family, would have been momentous in their lives. So
Absolutely.
it's kind of an unfair question, but there must be certain events uh, that
So,
stands out for you for particular reasons.
oh, absolutely. I think the first thing is an almost intangible. So you're right. For somebody to receive a loaf of bread is momentous. But it's not the bread, you see, Julie, it's the return of dignity. So that persons don't need to beg. And so that a breadwinner, whether it's the male or the female in the house, is able to provide for the family. That restoration of dignity is, immeasurable, because now, quite honestly, I don't need to be a beggar. There is this organization that can assist. So there's that element. But if we were to speak about tangible things, we can speak about the over thousands of water wells and boreholes.
Alhamdulillah.
But I want to highlight one thing. Africa Muslims Agency is committed to changing the trajectory of human life. It is not simply there to hand out. We want to
Absolutely.
be empowering so that the future looks better. And so there is a one particular, you asked me to highlight one or maybe two. In November,
Difficult.
late October last year, Africa Muslims Agency opened up what is called the Amman School for Syrian and Palestinian refugee children in Lebanon, in a place called the Bekaa Valley. So just outside these tents, these refugee tents or camps, there's a fully fledged school, not a second rate, not a tented school. This is in a solid building with very many facilities. And the aim here is to educate, to empower. And because if we do that, it gives
Alhamdulillah.
the refugee child an opportunity to perhaps move out of the camp, to go to university, to then be, gainfully employed, etc. So that's mind-boggling and that's game-changing. And so I don't want us to simply think of Africa Muslims Agency, parcels, hampers. Obviously, that's a part of it. Or in terms of relief work, where that's, you spoke about the brothers who, for example, have lost everything. And so Africa Muslims Agency is the type of organization that cares. And there's not simply words that we use. So we respond to relief needs. And then obviously there's the water well campaign in Mozambique, Malawi, Afghanistan, where the need is immense. And so we exist by the mercy of Allah, but the generosity of people who allow us to do the work. So
Okay,
the
carry on.
Oman School of Excellence, that is a game changer.
I know one of the twins, and I always get very confused which one I'm talking to, Hassan and Hussein. They look alike, and the names are
They
also
do.
so similar. So I spoke to, we did talk to them about that event, and also there was a lot of video footage of the event. So,
Yes.
yeah, amazing work that was carried out there. So, you're having this 35th commemoration. What, when and where is it going to happen? Who should be attending, and what can they expect at the event?
Great. So it's almost happening over 2 days, as in on the Friday night, there's the opening of our exhibition, and followed by a banquet dinner. That is quite honestly, there's a cost involved. People buy tickets and they come. And then on Saturday at zero cost and open to the public, we are having an expo, an exhibition of the work that Am has done over the 35 years. So this is at a place called, Julie, for people who might not be familiar with Cape Town, it's a place called The Lookout. It's based at the waterfront. And we thought that, quite honestly, in terms of, we as Muslims don't need to shy from premium facilities, as it were. And
Absolutely,
so the
absolutely.
banquet dinner is there together with the expo. Now the expo is important because it details the work of Africa Muslims Agency over 35 years. In a sense, from where it started, we have, in terms of a picture gallery, the mosques and the water wells that were established very many years ago, the improvement in technology. We've recreated for people who've been unable to, for whatever, for understood reasons, who haven't seen a refugee tent. We've recreated a refugee home in this expo. We've recreated a Afghan home, for example, and the difficulties that our brothers and sisters go through there. And then we've created, for example, a little mosque in Malawi, and a water well in Mozambique, etc. And the aim is quite honestly not to pat ourselves on the back, but to share with the Muslim community, particularly, and anybody who visits, that this is what the need is, and this is the response that African Muslims Agency has. And then, quite honestly, to invite people to become part of the response. So, this is all our work, and so that we exist by the du'as and the generosity of everybody else who makes this possible. So this is, we are but vehicles, and we're inviting everybody else to join our journey, as it were. So the
Inshallah.
exhibition is on Saturday from 10 o'clock until 5 p.m. And so if you are either in Cape Town or you know people in Cape Town, then quite honestly, all roads lead to the lookout at the waterfront on Saturday, 21st of May.
Inshallah. When are you bringing this amazing exhibition to Johannesburg, for example?
Actually, watch this space. The 35th
Inshallah.
anniversary goes on the entire year. So I do want to tell you that's part of our thinking. A lot of work has gone into it, and it would be a pity to only have it in one city and only for one day.
Okay, so we look forward to that happening in our part of the world.
Great stuff.
Uh, People who are at a point in their lives, as Muslims and other people as well, we're always wanting to give back. We always want to be a part of making a difference. But when they hear about AMA and think, well, you in establishment for so long, 35 years, I'm really new at this. What possible difference can I make by joining the organization as a volunteer? Will my input matter at all? What do you say to that?
It matters. Julie, we all know that story of the starfish, yeah, little boy
Oh,
walking
yes,
on the beach and
yes.
throwing up starfish that have beached themselves. And somebody says, "What the hell you're doing?" And there's so many of them. What difference can you make? And he picks up one starfish and throws it back and says, "That's the difference in that starfish's life." So if there's anyone, it's not about money. If you wish to volunteer of your time, if you want to come and sit in our office, any one of the offices across, the whole of the country, then please do. It would fill your life with incredible joy. There is no better feeling than knowing that by your action or contribution or whatever, you have positively impacted the life of another human being. It's a feeling of immense fulfillment, gratification, and obviously they believe the reward to Allah. But do never ever feel that you don't need to make a contribution, that you don't need to do anything or anything of that sort. Okay?
Okay, okay, absolutely, inshallah. Lovely talking to you. We look
Likewise.
forward. We look forward to this event coming to our part of the world,
Thank you
and
so very much. Okay.
undoubtedly, it's going to be obviously a sold out event, and you're going to get a
Yes.
lot of people at the actual, uh, the event on the following day at the exhibition. So wonderful indeed. Nice talking with you. Till the next time, as always,
Likewise.
so
Take
well.
care, Julie.
Keep up the amazing work, all
Thank
of
you so
you at
much.
AMA. Salaam alaikum to you.
Come salam. Take care. Right, salam.
909 exactly, news and views right here on Salam Media. Stay with us. Lots more coming your way on the show this morning.